Hi, my name is Tiffany Perry, and I am the new owner of the Artful Yarn in Chagrin Falls, beautiful city town in Ohio, up near Cleveland.
Thank you so much, Tiffany, for joining us. The first question I have for you is, what was your drive to sort of get into this industry? I know you said you're a new owner of the store, so what sort of was the motivation for that?
I think the biggest motivation to get into this industry is the community, the fiber community, both within the Chagrin Falls area, but also within all of Northeast Ohio and beyond. I love meeting people. I love being able to help people.
Well, going along with that, our second question here is, and this will be interesting since you just sort of started, what have you found already to be the biggest challenge, but also the biggest joy of running this shop?
So one thing I find to be the biggest challenge is to meet people's expectations in what you might have in stock. You can only bring in, I can only bring in so much yarn in so many colors, and everybody has a different idea of what they want to make with what colors they want to use and what yarn they want to use. And sometimes I hate to have someone leave disappointed because they can't find what it was they were hoping to find. So that's probably the biggest disappointment. But the thing I have loved the most is the way the community, Kathy, the young lady who owned the shop before me, who I purchased it from, she built just this really amazing and thoughtful and really loving fiber community here in Chagrin Falls. And they have really shown up for me this month to come and, say hello and congratulate me and support the business. And it's been really great having that.
Hmm. That's awesome. And have you found that there have been a lot of regulars that come in frequently and you've gotten to know them well?
Yeah, I've worked at the shop for 4 years or so. So there are a bunch of people who I already know, and they all seem, very excited to, have the shop continue and have the community still be here for everybody in to join us and come to.
The next question we have for you regarding the yarns, I know you're talking about how people love to see the wide variety of color options and such. What goes through your mind when you are bringing yarns into your store? I know Ohio's got to be very cold in the pictures you sent with the snow. I imagine that plays a factor as well.
Oh yeah, in the late fall through early spring, there's lots of bulky yarns and worsted weight yarns. Everybody's thinking about how keeping warm here in Ohio. It's snowing right now as we're on the call. But so there's a lot of consideration into what season is it, and what people want to knit right now. I find that in the summertime in Ohio, people want to knit smaller projects, so there's a lot more sock yarn and bags and that kind of stuff made than in the wintertime, and everybody's really okay with bundling up under a blanket that they're knitting.
Absolutely. And going along with that, what do you see is the most popular fiber content at your store? Is it typically more wool-based projects that you find customers making?
I would say that there's a lot of wool that runs through this shop for sure. We get a lot of cotton as well. Uh, you know, for for those who don't like the wool, the cotton's really nice, and alpaca. Lots of warm fibers in the winter and lots of good breathability in the summer.
Hmm. That's interesting. We've talked to some stores in warmer climates, and cotton is usually the go-to for them, but to hear up in Ohio that it's a popular fiber content as well is interesting to hear.
Yeah, we get warm days in Ohio.
What at your store seems to be the most popular of Universal?
So we get the Universal, the Cotton Deluxe, Cotton Supreme
Hmm.
is really, really fabulous. And that one gets a lot of purchase here at our shop. People also really love the color burst because it's got a wool content, and it's also um, got a really great, color moving through the yarn. And I personally always like the bamboo sock. Those are real nice. I've made a bunch of socks for my kids for the out of that, and
Hmm.
it wears really well, and it's really breathable, and the colors are those. I really love color, all things color. So you cannot put enough color into my life. So the colors in the bamboos in all of those yarns are really great.
Yeah. And do you find that your customers typically go more towards like self-striping, self-shading, or do they like the solid color yarn options? What seems to be like the way your customers go?
It seems like recently people have really been into self-striping or multicolored yarns.
Hmm.
Uh, you know, whether it does the little fair isle, or it does a self-striping, or it's just a multicolored yarn. That seems to be really popular lately with especially with the colors in it. But there's always room for a nice solid too.
Because I know the bamboo pop socks are seem to be just popular across the board at a lot of the stores, and that the self patterning color work of that yarn is, I guess people really love to see the colors come to life.
Yeah, it looks so great as socks and like in a sweater. I've seen sweaters made out of it, and it's just as fun in a sweater as it is in a sock.
What are the most popular projects that you see your customers make? Is it sweaters, socks, scarves? What seems to be some of the most popular makes there?
So I'm sure you'll be surprised to find that there are a lot of hats and scarves and shawls that are made here in the Cleveland, Ohio area. But you also get lots of socks. We're teaching classes on socks, and we're teaching classes on different shawls you can make. And there's always somebody who's making a sweater, whether it's somebody who works here, or somebody who's coming in for a little help with it. But yeah, this I don't find a lot of projects that people shy away from. So, but keeping warm in the winter is important. So there's lots of warm.
Yeah. And do you find that like a lot of the customers will come in and knit their projects or crochet their projects in the store, or come in for advice or tips? How does that process sort of work? And when they finish, I imagine a lot of them will bring in their projects as well.
We love to see the finished products at the shop, but more times I see the yarn going out than I do the finished products coming in, which is good. People are wearing them or gifting them, or doing what they're using them the way they should be. But lots of, we have a space in the back of our shop where people can just sit and chat and meet together
Mhm.
and knit or crochet, or whatever fiber art they're working on. We call it the loop, so you're in the loop. And we have a couple of people who come in a couple of days a week, and they just sit, and we have some classes that meet back there, and we have some like fix it helps that we have set up, so people can come in with like, I dropped some stitches and can you help me put it back together, and they'll all of that. We try to make it a community, so people are
Yeah.
welcome to come and sit and enjoy themselves and chat with other fiber friends.
That's amazing. And that's something we hear consistently across from our stores is just building a place where people can come in and feel welcome and work on their projects and meet other people. So that's really nice to hear that you guys have something like that as well. What sort of advice would you give to yourself of, what to do, what you could have done better, or what you said, oh, I should do more of that. I should order more of this yarn. What sort of advice would you give to yourself?
So, that question is a little hard for me to answer only because I am still in my first month of owning a business. But I
Yeah,
will say that, when this opportunity kind of was presented to me last summer, I really, it took some time for me to really think about whether or not this was something I wanted to do. It's a big change in my life and my family's life. But I think if, with the way that the community has really kind of embraced me, I feel like if I had to go back and tell myself anything, it would be, you know, don't worry about it. You go for it. It's gonna be good. You're making the right decision. You're doing the right thing.
I know you're in your first month, as you said, and you're still sort of learning and communicating with um, companies like Universal. What have you found to be your favorite thing about working with us at Universal Yarn?
You know, you have so many um different yarns with, different characteristics that are really great. And what I have enjoyed is the customer service is really helpful. They're very friendly. They've, answered all my questions whenever I have any questions. They are, they're just as great as, any fiber community member I have met. And so that's always really lovely, is to feel like you've been dropped into this, and it feels very seamless. Like if I don't feel like it hasn't been very bumpy, which is really terrific. And I love that I can just look at all the colors and, find something that to help a customer if they're looking for something really specific, and then reach out to you guys and get it to them, in a timely manner. It's all terrific.
For sure, Christy does an incredible job back in customer service. I'm sure you've gotten to chat with her a few times.
Yep.
Also, going along with that as well, have you been able to do any drop shipping or um, any of the trunk shows? Have you gotten to take a look at that at all?
So we have done some drop shipping, and we were part of your 12 days of Christmas drop ship program. And I was helping Kathy a lot. We were working on some transitioning stuff in December. So I got to work with them in December for that as well. So this, it's, yes, but I will need to look at your trunk show information. I have not gotten to that yet.
I'm sure that drop shipping really helps out though when people are like, well, I want this color of this yarn and you may not have it in store and you just have the opportunity to send it directly to them.
Yeah, and you guys ship it so quickly. I always hear back from a customer who's like, "Well, I've got that already. Thank you so much." So that's always terrific too.
I have for you is what does the day to day look like in your store, especially in the last month as you've taken over?
So weekend days, Fridays and Saturdays are always a little busier. We teach classes on the weekends. We have our Help Me Friday on Fridays. So we have somebody here who can just help you with little issues you're having reading patterns, or, you know, having problem with figuring out where you are in a pattern or anything like that. So Fridays and Saturdays tend to be pretty busy, and
Mm.
that's often spent with talking to the customers and having people come in. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is kind of the catch up days, reaching out to people and letting them know that maybe their yarn has come in, or looking at what has been selling and what might need to be restocked and bringing that in, and looking for any special orders, or just general cleaning. There's all the fun stuff, the vacuuming and the dusting. It's all everybody's favorite stuff. So
Yeah. Hearing you talk about new yarns, that makes me wonder, when you guys bring something new in, do you tend to see customers sort of flocking around whatever the new product is, or how does that usually work?
So we try to we have a kind of a space in the center where we kind of put it's set apart from some of the other yarns. And so I try to put anything new that's come in out there, so it's right up front where you can see it, so you can say, oh, look at this new thing that's come in. And then we try to make sure that the other salespeople are, oh, did you see this new yarn we've got coming in? Because everybody loves new yarn. You don't want to, it's if you're looking at the same yarn all the time, then then it's not as fun. So it's always good to see the new colors and the new yarns and what's new for the spring. And
Like, I know you mentioned you have some people that can answer questions for the customers. What does that look like?
well, I am really lucky in that Kathy is continuing to mentor me in this as this transition has been going on. So she is helping me and keeping up with our website and teaching me how to do all of that kind of background stuff. But then we have a really terrific staff. We have I think five other women: Linda and Randy and Erin and Christine and Jennifer, and they all kind of excel at different things, but are all really helpful at kind of when people come in with questions, understanding the yarns that you might use for the different patterns that they're looking at, and help with whatever issue you might be having within your knitting.
Wow, that's wonderful to have a team that big that's able to just assist everybody. What sort of events do you have um, for the knitting and crocheting community around your town?
So we participate in the Yarn Discovery Tour that happens in Northeast Ohio every year. And so it's in September, and it's about a month long. And we get 14 or 16 local shops with it all within you like an hour to 2 hours, depending on where you're located. And you can visit all the shops, and everybody provides a pattern, and they have yarn, and it's an opportunity for people to visit different stores. And because everybody carries different yarns, and everybody carries different colors, and it's really great to be able to see all the different things that maybe we don't do a lot of weaving here at the Artful Yarn, but there are plenty of shops that really get into that. And so it's good to see what other fiber activities you can get into, and what other shops look like. And so it's a really great opportunity. And then we also participate in different like things that the chamber does here in Chagrin Falls. So we try to be an active participant in just in the local community with even just giving donations to different fundraisers at the schools, and other art centers and that kind of stuff. So it's really we try to be involved in that way too.
Amazing. Do you find that at your shop there's a good amount of people that will come in wanting to crochet projects? That you had me interested when you're talking about, weaving in the local community. What seems to be like the balance between people that want to knit and crochet at your store?
I would say I definitely meet more knitters than crocheters. But we've been adding learn to crochet classes, and there have been a lot of people interested in that. So, I think there's plenty of interest in the crochet community. And, I am trying to learn myself so that I can, knowledgeably talk about that and maybe help people with that as well.
A lot of people like to crochet the stuffed animals as well, and always makes for a great gift for anybody. So,
I love a good knitted and crocheted stuffed animal, that is for sure.
all right, our last question. Well, you kind of answered it already, going about with the outreach. And if you want to expand on sort of the classes that you have at your store, I know you said learning to crochet. Any other classes that you want to mention, feel free to do that as well.
Sure. So we tend to change up our classes. But we try to do a monthly learn to knit class, and we're trying to maybe do a monthly learn to crochet class as well. We are just starting a new class that we're calling Come Knit With Us, where you come into the shop and you sit back in the loop and you bring the project that it is that you want to work on. So whatever it is, and then we have a teacher here who will kind of facilitate, multiple people working on multiple projects, but it's a good opportunity for you to sit and, dedicate a couple hours to whatever project it is you're working on, and then know that when you come to a point that you might need a little help working on the next part, someone is there with you. We also do what we call the On the Needles, our OTN rally day in the summertime, and we go to Chagrin Township Hall and we get a bunch of teachers and we do morning and afternoon classes so that you can maybe learn something bigger than a small technique. A lot of times with our classes, we will teach here's the shawl you're going to make, but here's the technique, the hard technique within it, and get you started with it. But you've kind of practiced the harder technique so that when you get to it, you know how to do it. So the rally day is it's a little bit bigger. It's a really great opportunity to everybody sit down in a big room together and kind of chat, and then walk around the city and the town, and have lunch, and then come back and do a little more knitting together in the afternoon. So it's I like to try to teach whatever people want to learn how to do, and there's so many things to learn how to do, both knitting and crocheting, so it's great.
Yeah, that's incredible that you guys are providing those resources to your customers. And I'm sure when it's warmer, they like to sit out by the waterfall as well.
Yeah,
Seems like a beautiful place to just sit down and work on a project.
it for sure is.
All right, well, that's all the questions we have for you. Is there anything else you'd like to mention or expand on?
No, I really appreciate this opportunity. And I really look forward to continuing working with Universal Yarns, because you guys are so great.
Well, thank you so much for your time.